What if a small 50 centavo coin from Mexico could be worth more than $74,000 today? It may sound unbelievable, but rare mint errors have transformed a handful of these everyday coins into highly valuable collectibles. The first coin in this video is the 2004 Mexican 50 centavo error coin, an interesting collectible that can reach values between $18,120 and $74,240, depending on the type of error, rarity, and overall condition. At first glance, the 2004 Mexican 50 centavo looks like an ordinary circulation coin. Millions were produced and used throughout Mexico for daily purchases, from public transportation to neighborhood stores and restaurants. Most people spent these coins without giving them a second thought. However, a very small number left the mint with unusual production errors, and today those rare pieces have become highly sought after by collectors around the world. The coin was produced by the Casa de Moneda de Mexico, the oldest mint in the Americas. For centuries, this historic institution has manufactured Mexico's official coinage while maintaining a tradition that dates back to the 16th century. The obverse of the coin features the national coat of arms of Mexico. The design shows the famous golden eagle standing on a cactus while holding a snake in its beak and talon. This iconic image comes from an ancient Aztec legend and remains one of the most recognized national symbols in Mexico. The reverse displays the denomination of 50 centavos along with the year 2004 and decorative elements that are unique to the series. Although the design itself is attractive, collectors are primarily interested in the rare minting mistakes that occasionally occurred during production. A standard 2004 Mexican 50 centavo coin was struck according to strict specifications involving weight, diameter, and metal composition. When collectors examine potential error coins, one of the first things they do is compare those specifications with the actual coin. Even a slight difference can suggest that something unusual happened during the minting process. Every coin begins as a blank metal disc called a planchet. These blanks are carefully manufactured before being sent into powerful coining presses. Inside the press, engraved steel dies strike the planchet under tremendous pressure, transferring the design onto both sides of the coin. Although this process is highly automated, occasional mechanical problems can produce fascinating mint errors. One of the most dramatic errors collectors search for is the off-center strike. This happens when the planchet is not perfectly aligned between the dies. As the press closes, only part of the design is impressed onto the coin, leaving a blank curved area. Collectors especially value examples where the date and denomination remain visible because the coin can still be properly identified while displaying a significant minting error. Another highly desirable variety is the doubled die error. Unlike many minting mistakes, this error begins during the creation of the die itself. If the die receives a slightly misaligned impression during manufacturing, certain letters, numbers, or design elements appear doubled on every coin struck from that die. Collectors carefully inspect the date, lettering, and decorative details for signs of clear separation. Strong doubled die examples are especially valuable because the error is often easy to recognize. Die cracks are another fascinating category of mint errors. Coining dies strike thousands of planchets every day under tremendous pressure. Eventually, tiny fractures can begin forming inside the hardened steel. When metal flows into those cracks during striking, raised lines appear on the finished coin. Some die cracks are barely noticeable, while others extend dramatically across major portions of the design. Collectors appreciate these errors because they reveal the tremendous stress placed on minting equipment. Grease strike errors are also found on modern Mexican coinage. Sometimes grease, oil, or small debris fills recessed portions of the die. When this happens, parts of the design fail to strike completely. Letters may appear weak, numbers may seem incomplete, and certain details may appear faded or missing altogether. Although these errors may seem minor, well-defined examples often attract considerable attention from collectors. Clipped planchet errors are another favorite among numismatists. Before coins are struck, circular planchets are punched from large sheets of metal. If the punching machine overlaps a previous cut, part of the blank may already be missing before striking occurs. The finished coin displays a curved section missing from its edge. Because the clip existed before striking, the design naturally follows the unusual shape of the blank. Broad strike errors are also highly collectible. Normally, a retaining collar surrounds the planchet during striking and helps create the raised rim. If the collar fails or is absent, the metal spreads outward beyond its normal dimensions. The finished coin appears slightly larger than usual and often lacks a properly formed rim. Collectors enjoy these errors because they dramatically change the appearance of the coin. Among the rarest discoveries are wrong planchet errors. These occur when a 50 centavo design is accidentally struck onto a blank intended for another denomination. The resulting coin may display unusual weight, thickness, diameter, or even a different color. Because multiple production mistakes must occur at the same time, wrong planchet errors are considered exceptionally rare. Collectors often regard them as some of the most exciting finds in modern numismatics. Condition plays an equally important role in determining value. Most 2004 Mexican 50 centavo coins circulated for many years and developed scratches, contact marks, discoloration, and general wear. However, examples that retain strong original luster, crisp details, and minimal handling are significantly more desirable. When an outstanding condition coin also displays a rare mint error, its market value can increase dramatically. Professional grading services help authenticate these coins and verify that the unusual characteristics resulted from the minting process rather than post-mint damage. Experts examine every detail under magnification, identify the specific error, and assign a numerical grade based on the coin's condition. Certified examples generally command stronger prices because collectors have greater confidence in professionally authenticated pieces. Over the years, certain 2004 Mexican 50 centavo error coins have achieved remarkable values in the collector market. Depending on the rarity of the error, eye appeal, and preservation quality, examples have sold for amounts ranging between $18,120 and $74,240. That may seem unbelievable for a coin with such a small face value, but collectors are not paying for 50 centavos. They are paying for rarity, history, and the uniqueness of a minting mistake that escaped inspection before entering circulation. The 2004 Mexican 50 centavo reminds us that valuable treasures are not always made of gold or silver. Sometimes, an ordinary-looking coin hiding in an old collection, a forgotten drawer, or even a jar of spare change can become an extraordinary collectible worth tens of thousands of dollars. Have you ever imagined that a simple 50 centavo coin from 1970 could be worth more than $86,000 today? For a few rare error coins, that possibility is very real, and it's exactly why collectors examine every old coin they find. The second coin in this video is the 1970 Mexican 50 centavo error coin, a remarkable collectible that can reach values between $25,220 and $86,320, depending on the type of minting error, rarity, and overall condition. At first glance, the 1970 Mexican 50 centavo appears to be an ordinary circulation coin from a busy era in Mexico's monetary history. Millions of these coins pass through countless hands in markets, restaurants, public transportation, and local businesses. Most examples are still worth only their face value, but a small number left the mint with unusual production errors that have turned them into highly desirable collector's pieces. The coin was produced by the Casa de Moneda de Mexico, one of the oldest operating mints in the world. Established centuries ago, the mint has produced countless historic coins and continues to play an important role in Mexico's numismatic heritage. The obverse of the coin displays the national coat of arms of Mexico. The famous image of the golden eagle standing on a prickly pear cactus while holding a snake represents the legendary founding of the Aztec capital and remains one of the country's most recognized national symbols. The reverse features the denomination of 50 centavos, the date 1970, and decorative elements that were used during that period of Mexican coinage. While the design itself is attractive, collectors are especially interested in examples that display unusual minting errors. A standard 1970 Mexican 50 centavo was manufactured according to strict specifications involving its weight, diameter, thickness, and metal composition. Collectors often compare these measurements with official standards because any unusual difference may indicate that a valuable mint error occurred during production. Every coin begins its journey as a blank metal disc known as a planchet. These planchets are carefully prepared before entering high-speed coining presses. Inside the press, engraved steel dies strike the blank under tremendous pressure, permanently transferring the design onto both sides of the coin. Although the equipment is designed for precision, occasional mechanical problems can create rare and valuable errors. One of the most dramatic errors collectors search for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet is not perfectly positioned between the dies before striking. As a result, only part of the design appears on the finished coin while a blank crescent-shaped area remains along one side. Collectors especially value examples where the date and denomination remain visible because the coin can still be identified while displaying an obvious minting error. Another highly collectible variety is the doubled die error. Unlike many striking mistakes, this error originates during the creation of the die itself. If the die receives a slightly misaligned impression during manufacturing, portions of the lettering or design become doubled on every coin struck from that die. Collectors carefully inspect the date, inscriptions, and decorative details under magnification to identify these distinctive features. Strong doubled die examples are particularly desirable because the doubling can often be seen without advanced equipment. Die cracks are another fascinating category of mint errors. Coining dies experience enormous pressure every time they strike a planchet. After thousands of strikes, tiny fractures may begin developing inside the hardened steel. When metal flows into those fractures during striking, raised lines appear on the finished coin. Some die cracks are short and subtle, while others extend dramatically across large portions of the design. Collectors appreciate these errors because they provide visible evidence of the stresses experienced by the minting equipment. Grease strike errors are also encountered on Mexican coinage. Sometimes grease, oil, or debris fills recessed portions of the die. When that happens, certain details fail to transfer completely onto the coin. Letters may appear weak, numbers can seem incomplete, and decorative elements may look faded or partially missing. These unusual characteristics often attract collectors who specialize in mint errors. Clipped planchet errors are another favorite among numismatists. Before striking occurs, circular planchets are punched from large sheets of metal. If the punching machine overlaps a previous cut, part of the blank may already be missing before it reaches the coining press. The finished coin displays a curved section missing from its edge. Because the clip existed before striking, the design naturally follows the unusual shape of the blank. Broad strike errors are also highly collectible. Normally, a retaining collar surrounds the planchet during striking and helps create the raised rim. If the collar fails or is missing, the metal spreads outward beyond its intended size. The finished coin appears larger than normal and often lacks a properly formed edge. Collectors enjoy these errors because they significantly alter the coin's appearance. Among the rarest discoveries are wrong planchet errors. These occur when a 50 centavo design is accidentally struck onto a blank intended for another denomination. The resulting coin may display unusual weight, thickness, diameter, or color. Because several production mistakes must occur at the same time, wrong planchet errors are considered exceptionally rare. Collectors often view them as some of the most exciting discoveries in modern numismatics. Another fascinating error category is the die clash. This occurs when the dies strike one another without a planchet positioned between them. The impact transfers faint portions of one design onto the opposing die. Later coins struck by those dies may display unexpected design elements in unusual places. These errors provide collectors with valuable insight into what happened inside the mint during production. Condition plays an equally important role in determining value. Most 1970 Mexican 50 centavo coins circulated extensively for decades. As a result, scratches, contact marks, worn details, and discoloration are common. However, examples that retain sharp details, attractive surfaces, and original mint luster are significantly more desirable. When exceptional preservation is combined with a rare mint error, values can rise dramatically. Professional grading services authenticate these coins and verify that the unusual characteristics were created during the minting process rather than through later damage. Experts carefully examine every detail, identify the specific error, and assign a numerical grade based on the coin's condition. Certified examples generally command stronger prices because collectors trust professional authentication. Over the years, certain 1970 Mexican 50 centavo error coins have achieved impressive prices in the collector market. Depending on the rarity of the error, I appeal, and overall preservation. Examples have sold for amounts ranging between $25,220 and $86,320. That may sound unbelievable for a coin with such a modest face value, but collectors are not paying for 50 centavos. They are paying for rarity, history, and a unique minting mistake that escaped quality control before entering circulation. The 1970 Mexican 50 centavo proves that extraordinary treasures can sometimes be hidden inside ordinary-looking coins. One overlooked piece tucked away in an old collection, coin album, or forgotten box could be worth far more than anyone ever expected.